To start this video, a question. Can one wield evil to destroy evil?
Only your hatred can destroy me.
A philosophical quandary that has aroused many what-if fan fictions and speculations in the fantasy genre. What outcomes would arise under such circumstances? If a great power rose to prominence through evil and tyranny, then perhaps to destroy it you must be more tyrannical, more sinister than the past. Would you be replacing one tyrant with another, but worse? Can someone with good intentions truly cultivate evil to serve righteous purposes? Or are they really in control at all? The very corruptive nature of evil makes you wonder, who is the real master and who is the servant? Is it you controlling these dark forces, or is it the dark forces controlling you? Perhaps in its cunning it may trick you into thinking you're in control, but by and by steadily seize power and consume you totally, rendering you nothing but a puppet to serve its bidding. This, among many other themes and plot points, is part of what makes the greatest fantasy you've never seen, well, probably never seen, so great. To add to this, I would like to say paradoxically that this has been seen by many people. The reason for that being is that for this fantasy drama, we shall venture overseas, or at least in the virtual sense. Welcome to the Untamed, a 50-episode 2019 Chinese web series based on the book Mo Dao Zi Shi, which translates roughly to Grand Master of Demonic Cultivation, written in 2015 by Mo Xiang Tong Xiao. And if the name alone isn't enough to find it enticing, then perhaps the rest of this video might. In the interest of keeping spoilers to a minimum, I'll talk mostly about the themes and thought realms it ventures into, without explicitly stating where things go. In doing so, I hope to lay a foundation and context that may help with the overall viewing experience. Because, upon embarking on the adventure that is this series, you'll be mercilessly plunged into the middle of a bunch of confusing nonsense and a convoluted plot. This has become known as Phase 1 of the Untamed viewing experience, which serves as the tough skin one must go through to get to the juicy center, which arrives after about 12 or so episodes in. The first couple of episodes are a cascade of unfathomableness, like the whole thing is some kind of inside joke you missed out on, seemingly requiring specialized knowledge to navigate. This involves a great many questions. Just who on earth are these people, and what's their relationship with each other? What's all this strange magic that often involves the use of string and wind instruments that can be carved almost instantaneously from whatever materials happen to be sitting around? Whether it be a stick of bamboo, or failing that, a few blades of grass. And yet, despite that, still capable of hitting intricate musical notes and possessing great magical powers such as controlling zombie-like creatures. Sometimes these instruments can seemingly materialize almost out of thin air too. What's all this business that involves drawing on paper and throwing it around, or taping it to buildings or people to cast various spells or enchantments? Or to provide an alternate vessel for one's consciousness so they can go on covert reconnaissance missions? Why do swords give one the ability to defy gravity? That doesn't look at all safe. What are all these spiritual and magical qualities they possess, and even personalities, because some of these weapons have serious anger problems. That's not to mention the living statues, magic that can literally destroy souls, and the great many magical artifacts of the world. And the very much unavoidable. Why do the CGI and practical effects look like, well, just what on earth is this thing? However, where the poor CGI may momentarily deprive you of the ability to suspend disbelief, the authentic feel of the chemistry pulls you right back in. You'll be damned if these people haven't actually known each other for years. And by it manages to tease your interest to an almost fiendish state of absorbing episode after episode to get the next hit. And what was seen as nonsense almost becomes a part of its charm. Almost. Because there is plenty to indulge in. The Untamed is a world abundant with character and culture, different sects with their ways of life, rules, rituals, traditions, and cultivation methods, which is a type of spiritual magic that harnesses energy from a multitude of different sources. And navigating through all this provides a sense of adventure and exploration, enriching the world with color. As an example, we have the Ni clan. They practice a type of cultivation which harnesses the resentful energy given off by beasts and creatures to empower their large single-edged sabers, which gives them an aggressive and ferocious fighting style. However, this comes with the consequential drawback of driving many of the Ni clan insane in a process known as cheat deviation, to the point many of their ancestors have become so dangerous to society they have to resign from it by locking themselves away in a cave. And as the story ebbs and flows, navigating itself from one significant plot arc to the next, it still manages to find its feet while maintaining a constant underlying mystery throughout. And despite having serious tones, it also facilitates the occasional bit of humour too. But perhaps most compelling of all is how it thematically delves into complex places of dilemma, where decisions are never easy or simple, and times when all past knowledge and experience may have to be called into question. And despite being a fantasy show, in most cases it doesn't always resort to the simplest depiction of a pure good or pure evil, but complex mixes that acknowledges the shortcomings in even those of the most upright character with the best intentions. There's a prominent feeling of inner turmoil in many of the characters as they try to decipher right from wrong, and oftentimes with little refuge to find clarity. So, which path to choose? To live life with spontaneity, freedom, and to trust wholeheartedly in internal direction and instinct, or to live life within the tried and tested confines of your ancestors, adhering to their lessons with the utmost discipline and rigor without ever veering off course. Wei Wuxian, an exemplar of the former. But what conditions create such an individual? Wei Wuxian was orphaned at a young age. He is the product of an only child who was left on the streets to fend for himself, living in the chaos day to day to survive. Under such an ever-changing environment, what may have worked yesterday may not work today. Adaptability and creative problem-solving are needed to survive. The Guardian who eventually took him in had a soft spot for him too, and largely gave him the freedom to live life on his terms and remain an explorative, curious individual. What you see on screen is an extrapolation that makes sense. Wei Wuxian is spontaneous, trusts his intuition and judgment, and is adventuresome. He is both willing and confident to walk the path less travelled, venturing into mysterious realms. Such a place can facilitate someone of great potential. Someone capable of discovering hidden secrets and even pioneering a new field altogether. But at what point does that curious mind, that unique and thoughtful or creative approach to problem solving, and confidence to handle yourself in whatever the world throws at you, reach a place of arrogance and meddling in forces you may not be able to handle? Perhaps all these pre-made answers that others followed were there for a reason. But nothing was taken at face value, so all these pre-made answers were discarded. When there are no rules and you choose to learn as you go along, you might find yourself in over your head. What if the path is less travelled partly because it's a dangerous one to go down? The less travelled path in this case is demonic cultivation, which sources its power from resentful energy given off by these zombie-like creatures. Yes, Wei Wuxian is this aforementioned Grand Master of demonic cultivation, which is something that's established in episode 1. But the path wasn't just one of choice at all, but very much a circumstantial plunge into uncharted waters where he would either sink or swim. Is it justified to go down such a path if you find yourself in the pits of hell with no glimmer of light, and darkness is the only master willing to teach you? When the ability to walk the straight and narrow path has since been sacrificed in the name of love, is it justified then? And when there is a problem that must be solved, and no other solutions are offered, when utterly consumed by purpose and a sense of need, without even a moment to consider the means, is one justified in heeding the lessons of the Dark Master and learning its ways? One may wonder. Perhaps it was just destiny to shoulder all the darkness of the world so others don't have to. A compelling reason to take such a path is more than just a desire for power. And even despite the arduous journey to wield this power and become the Grand Master of demonic cultivation, the toll may remain continuous and its weight heavier the more it's wielded. Because something must be called into question. Who's the real master? Is it you controlling the darkness? Or is it the darkness steadily corrupting away at your being and seizing power? To finally wield such a force can give rise to a sense of superiority and arrogance, powerful enough to decree yourself above the rules and without their need. Can anyone stop you if you sought to be judge, jury, and executioner. You could, if you wanted to, impose your will at the slightest annoyance. Leveraging frowned upon sources of energy to attain to great power makes you a force to be reckoned with. Politicians will envy you and see you as a threat to their ambition, and so may respond by tarnishing your image to incite fear into the hearts of the people and igniting a witch hunt. Arrogance, a sense of power, and a need to protect the weak become great motives to not give up such a thing easily. Or is that the subtly manipulative voice of corruption, holding you hostage to its influence yet making you think you're in control? And thus we enter a realm of reckless uncertainty. At such a juncture, what can truly be guaranteed? When you know not who or what is really in control, all promises become hollow, and your intentions today may not be congruent with your actions tomorrow. The toll on yourself and the world at large is uncertain. To risk your own health is one thing, but to inadvertently risk those around you is another. Can anyone truly possess a dark force? Or is it the darkness that possesses them? Whether it is out of curiosity, revenge, or having no other choice, is there any redemption for the one who steps down the path of darkness? Once you choose darkness, can you ever be good again? And so, it delves into the territory. Can evil really be used to do good? Or in the case of Wei Wuxian, can the means of cultivating resentment ultimately create something good? Problems with the path that cultivates resentful forces may be fairly self-evident. But what of the path of purity and righteousness? The exemplar of this is Lan Wangji. To live life by the book may be dull, but it's certainly very straightforward. You can't go wrong when the answers are already made for you. The sacred texts and lessons of your wise ancestors can direct your course. After memorizing their teachings and being able to recite them perfectly, adhering to them with the utmost self-discipline and rigor, and never veering off course, you can come to a confident sense of great understanding that through such extensive dedication, a state of total knowledge has been truly earned. These rules can give you the impression that they are all you need to know and bear answers to all life's questions. To read and memorize the lessons is easy, but when removed from the confines of a relatively secluded life and plunged into the dilemma of a wider world, how well do they hold up? To have every intention of walking the true and good path is one thing, but when the lines are blurred, what is truly good is hard to discern, and a perfect solution just doesn't appear to exist, you may accidentally wander astray. So, what to do when questions still arise? You can flick through your books for answers, but they don't have solutions or a sense of direction to give you. Or worse, they conflict with your conscience. The scriptures have created a path forward that is lit well, but consequently rendered you poorly climatized to darkness, and without the tools to navigate it. The righteous path may not be as easy to distinguish as you are led to believe. Retracing the footsteps of your predecessors step for step may mean losing yourself. You may struggle to find an inner sense of direction. Without the need to utilize intuition may atrophy. A state of crisis emerges, a moral conundrum. Despite all intention to do good, could you make mistakes? Could you go wrong entirely and face hefty consequences? Perhaps you may not have more than an instant to make your decision. And once it's made, the alternate door may be shut forever and you're forced to live with the choice that was made. Wei Wuxian and Lan Wangji, in many ways two diametrically opposite forces, two contrary paths, yet both arriving into the unknown mystery. And at such a juncture, perhaps we are in territory where the student must surpass the master, another pioneer created, and the path forward forged afresh. To navigate the uncharted lands of such a crisis, one must have to find a new compass, and there is no place to look other than within. It seems both courses are not without their drawbacks. Where one is weak, the other is strong. So, what of a yin-yang-esque symbiotic fusion of the both? After all, the Chinese word for crisis is an interesting composition that comprises the word danger and the word opportunity. One can be the vessel to absorb darkness, such as drinking that evil thing known as alcohol, so the other doesn't have to. And when doing so damages the body and spirit, the cleansing and purifying abilities of the other can dispel the darkness and be the lighthouse to shine the way home. And for Lan Wangji, to live life totally by the book might mean to live without character and expression, something that was instinctive but since unlearnt. As such, the true sense of self diminishes. What have you become other than a perfect mirror of the rules and lessons you learned? The invitation to search within can lead to a rediscovery of yourself, and even perhaps learning things about yourself you never knew. What does it mean to have fun? What does it mean to express yourself? What does it mean to truly be you? But the very nature of dilemma often means regardless of the decision you make, there will be a price to pay. United, they may be formidable, but that doesn't mean the world will allow the bonds to hold. Is the price to follow the heart one that can be afforded? Does it make you blind to their faults? Does it lead you down the wrong path? Does it mean the sacrifice of others? Does it mean the total demise of you and the one you love? Under most circumstances, one isn't expected to pay such a price. How strong will these bonds be when faced with an onslaught of challenges that seeks to test them and break them apart? To uphold an immaculate reputation is easy when life has never presented itself with a sticky situation that could threaten it. Arduously built over a lifetime with the utmost stringency, yet susceptible to destruction in an instant. Because what if to maintain that reputation and follow the rules that formed it means your conscience will no longer be clear? What if it means to go against the ones you love? And what if to act by the rules you learned doesn't uphold the fundamental morals and ethics they were built on? When tragedy strikes down, hammering away at everything that binds people together without remorse, each strike harder than the last, perhaps, despite their sincerity, these bonds may just not be feasible to maintain. Perhaps the world simply won't allow it. Yes, The Untamed is a love story, at least it is in the source material it's based off of. While it's an unfortunate thing, censorship laws mean it can't be shown with full integrity to the source material, and is more of a subtly suggestive bromance. It's still an incredible depiction of a kind of relationship, and the chemistry can very much be felt. And its power to speak volumes through so little without having to fall back on the graphic display or directness is a testament to the writing and acting. If you want to recapture that childlike innocence again of embarking on a new epic fantasy journey, watching on in awe, not quite sure what's going on, but along for the ride anyway, you may find The Untamed worth a watch. So, if you'd like to do that, I'll finally close with recommendations when it comes to streaming services. Obviously, my tiny YouTube channel isn't sponsored, so these are just general recommendations. The whole series is available for free on YouTube, but the quality of the translations isn't the best. Netflix has solid translations and probably provides the best viewing experience overall, if it's available on Netflix in your country. But there are other options too, such as Viki.com, which comes with the slight problem of having English subtitles pasted over the Chinese ones, which goes for most streaming services that host the show, but often adds a little extra context and insight. For example, Lang Wangji's title, Hangwan Jun, translates to Light-Bearing Lord. It also comes in the form of an audio drama, animation, and of course the original novel written by Mo Xiang Tongxiu. Thank you for watching my massive ad really. If you decide to watch the show, happy viewing.